Hello, ladies. My name is Angela. For those of you that haven't met me, thank you so much for coming to watch my YouTube channel and some of my videos here. I hope that you are excited to learn a little bit about energy, because I know this is something that women often report to me is on the decline, especially as they get into their 40s and early to mid 50s. And they can't necessarily understand why. They don't feel like they're doing anything different than they did as far as lifestyle in their 20s and early to mid 30s, yet they're feeling exhausted. And many women report to me that they're feeling this midday crash. They either have lunch or they've had lunch, and an hour or two later, they're feeling so exhausted they can barely pick their head up off the desk if they're working on a computer, or they can barely make it through their day and keep their words flowing, if they are doing a job where they have to be attending to people during their day. So this is obviously a big problem. If you feel like you can't make it through your day, especially your work day, what are you going to do? So I want to think of an example of someone that I actually just got off a call with very recently. We are going to start working together. So I'm really thankful that I'm going to be able to help her, and she's ready to take action, because she told me that she is feeling so exhausted that as she gets to her lunch break, she finishes eating her meal. Almost as soon as she finishes eating, she feels so exhausted. She was a teacher and she just feels like, how am I going to get going and finish off my afternoon? So what she was doing, she said to me, admittedly, that she was using those Monster energy drinks, and she'd drink a whole one right before she had to go back into the classroom. And she said that was what she needed to do to make it through her day. And it would give her enough energy, but then she would get home and crash and feel absolutely exhausted, have to take a nap. And she said she barely had enough energy to be able to get up and make any form of a healthy meal. So this was the cycle that she has been in now. And I said, how long have you been in this cycle for? And she said, oh, at least 2.5, almost 3 years. It's been getting worse. And so I'm wondering if I need to have more of this, or I don't know what to do. And so I'm so thankful that she reached out to me, and we are going to get to the root of where her energy crashes are coming from. But I also want to let you know that this is super common, and it's something I see all the time. And I do recall feeling this myself as well at one point. And part of this actually had to do with something that I had no idea was happening. And that was that my blood sugars were out of balance. And so I find this is very common for women, and they have no idea that this is the case. But if you are feeling like you're getting exhausted, either right after you eat your meal, whether it be lunch, whether it be dinner, or an hour or two later, you're even more exhausted, quite likely there could be some other things going on as well, but quite likely there are some imbalances in your blood sugars. And it's super common for women as they get into their 40s and early to mid 50s to have blood sugar imbalances. Our insulin production and our ability to be sensitive to blood sugars and sugars as they come into our body actually gets worse as we age, unfortunately. And part of this actually has to do with our changing hormones as well. So we are more susceptible sometimes to having some of these energy crashes mid to late afternoon. And especially if you have a busy life, you're busy at work, you're busy attending possibly to family or social activities. Most people are doing something in the middle of their day. They're not necessarily just at home resting. So this is going to interfere, no doubt, with your everyday life. And if it is starting to interfere with your ability to get to work and stay at work and be productive and do a good job, we are obviously be in trouble at some point if we can't get to work. And I know I have worked with women too that say they just ended up being so exhausted all the time, not just here and there in these mid-afternoon slumps, but so often all the time that they've had to go off work completely. And this obviously isn't a great long-term solution. We want to figure out what's zapping your energy and how you can get your energy back. So again, like I mentioned, if there is the potential for a blood sugar imbalance, so if you do feel some of those symptoms like I discussed, and that timing of after you've eaten a meal or an hour or two later, you have that real exhaustion, like you've just got to lie down and take a nap. And if you don't, you've got to spike your energy with some sort of caffeine, like a Monster drink, a cup of coffee, or a muffin, something sugary that really lifts you quite quickly. It's quite likely you do have blood sugar imbalances. And don't fret, because there is some things that can be done about it. It doesn't mean you have to cut all sugars out of your life and get really extreme with restrictions with low to no carbohydrates. Sometimes there is some different things that can be done. And so what I find very commonly for women is they're actually just not digesting properly. And this is something that actually can be fairly easily adapted for and improved on with some great strategies. So taking digestive enzymes can be very helpful with meals. It actually helps you to break down your sugars more quickly so that you don't get these big spikes after after eating a meal. Sometimes people also, instead of taking an enzyme in the form of a capsule or a pill, they will actually put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in some water, and they'll take that either immediately before or right after they finish their meal. And this can also, again, help to digest our foods and our sugars better. So it helps to stabilize our sugars after we eat a meal instead of having them spike and then crash. And, we can feel these spikes and crashes. And I just think of that person that I was speaking with, who I'm going to just start working with now, who had those monster drinks after lunch. She obviously was feeling low, so she got that spike in energy, and it's enough caffeine that it kept her going for an hour or two to finish her workday. But then she would have that low, that coming down off the sugar spike with a crash. So obviously we don't want this. It's not very functional for us. It not only depletes our energy, but it also can really impact our mood. When the sugars are spiking up and down like this, our moods often can spike and lower right along with it. So we want to find a solution to this. So hopefully you're able to take a couple of those tips and run with them. Again, a digestive enzyme in the form of a capsule or a pill that you can take after a meal. There's plenty of great ones out there available at grocery stores, drugstores. I have some individual recommendations that I usually make when I'm working with people one-on-one. And you also potentially, if you're not interested in trying that, you could try something like apple cider vinegar and a little bit of warm water. You don't need much, and you can actually have it either right before or right when you finish your meal. So those are a couple of little hacks for optimizing your blood sugars, stabilizing them, knowing that we're a little more prone to having blood sugar fluctuations and blood sugar spikes and falls as we get into our 40s and early to mid 50s. And this can be one of the hidden sources of our zapped energy. So I hope that helps you. And I hope that if you do feel that this is potentially happening for you and you want to look deeper into it, you want to understand why you are always so exhausted. It may not just be that short one after lunch where you're feeling that spike and crash. You may be exhausted all day, every day of the week. And if this is you, I highly recommend that you reach out to me, because I do work with women all the time that are exhausted, and we work to figure out what the root cause of it is, where it's truly coming from, and develop a lifestyle plan to actually help you get the balance back to sustain your energy from the time you get out of bed until the time you get to bed. And there definitely is a way. Most women that I work with regain their energy in as little as 2 to 3 weeks once we start to figure out what's going on and put the right strategies in place. So I hope to connect with you if this is the case. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website at www.angelasimpsonfunctionalmedicine.ca, and there is a place there for you to click and book on a free complimentary consult with me. And I can take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to discuss your health and if it might be a good fit for us to work together to get you not only rebalancing your hormones, but rebalancing and improving your overall health and wellness, both now and for the long term. All right. Thanks, ladies. Take care, and I'll speak with you again soon. Bye for now.